everyone. I am Nathan, but the truth. Ooh, I got a good one for you. I like telling my little stories. There's a couple of stories involved in this, and I want you guys to follow along very closely. Okay. Um, Back in, I come of age during the early 70s. And of course, music had lots of genres. And so I was captivated by rock and roll and soul and country and all that. I love listening to music, not making music. I'm not talented in that regard. Um, but I grew up with a sense of awareness so that sometimes when a person sang a song, I heard other things that other people didn't hear because when I listened to music, a lot of times I'd be alone because I wanted to try to see if I could hear all the different instruments and the words they were using. Well, strangely enough, um, I heard the Funkadelics. Um, and I was just, oh man, it's like light bulbs just start going off inside of my head. Boom, 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 boom. And I remember telling my grandmother and my aunt, they were both sitting down. I told them how I started listening to Funkadelics and I just really liked it. And I remember my aunt Jerry, she said, the reason you like it so much is because, not because that crazy music, because I can't stand it, she said, it's the words. She said, that man is a learned. And that was the first time I ever heard the term learned. And so I started researching learned. And in the library, my little hometown, uh, which was, predominantly white town, um, in the library, I ran across something, a quote that did not have an author to the quote. And it said, a learned man is harder on the devil than 1,000 angry worshipers. Boy, that stuck with me. Ooh. Well, maybe a year or two later, I was in the eighth grade. Never will forget. I was a pretty good student at that time. And my principal, whose church was just down the street from me, um, it was, mm, wow, hard to describe that church. But anyway, during the summertime, they sponsored a bicycle camp. Okay. And this bicycle camp, it was more than just one camp. It was all over the state of Ohio, where the only way you can get into that camp is have a bicycle, 10-speed bicycle at fact, which was the bigger bikes. And so he recommended me for that, and they approved me to go. They sponsored me. Somebody at that church sponsored me, paid for my 2 weeks. And they notified my mom, and my mom was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And so she went out and she rented me a bicycle, okay, for that occasion. And because, she was kind of cash strapped and it was, I guess in those days, rather expensive to just up and buy one of the newer bikes. A Schwinn cost about $200-300 back then. And we're talking 1973. And so I got to go to the camp. And I went to that camp and I was I was just excited, jubilant, so much so that I was blind. I was there meeting kids and we were the kids from Richland County. All the counties had this camp. from this church. And my county was Richland County. So I'm there with all these kids from my area. So they went to different schools as me, junior highs and stuff. But we connected. And boy, we just had so much fun. We went riding and we would ride 25, 30 miles a day. Okay. Along the highways, we had these long flags on our bicycles so that we could be seen, and we rode on state routes, not, the big major highways, interstates, but we rode on the state routes. And we would go and we would always meet somebody from another county, a group, from another county. So here you have about maybe 50 kids from this group, 50 kids from this county, and we'd meet and we'd spend the day together, and then we'd ride back to our camps sites. And the campsites were always out in the rural areas, out in the wooded areas, usually on some farmer's property, that was cleared out for us, and it was just really nice. Tents was up. It was just nice. Well, you guys, I had so much fun. I lost myself. I didn't know who the heck I was anymore. I was having so much fun. But then, as all things, it neared its end. And in that camp, the counselors were not what you read about in these what I call ghost stories, messing with kids and stuff. They were nothing like that. They were very good people, and they just embraced us kids. This one counselor, we call him Bear. Now at this time, I'm like 5'10", 5'11". I was growing fast, okay? And this guy was like 6'4", 6'5". Bear was huge, big, burly white guy, and he had this big old beard. But something about him told you he was just the nicest person in the world. But his story to us was that he was once a Hell's Angels, and he got saved from uh, crime and drugs and all that, and he turned to the church, and the church liberated him, and he wanted to give back. So he was one of our counselors, and all of us kids just loved Bear because there wasn't a mean thing about him. We had a hard time believing that he was once a Hell's Angels, and what we knew about the Hell's Angels. Okay, they tore up the Who's concert. Okay, these dudes was rough. But anyway, uh, came to the last day, and we had a big. We planned a dance. Okay, and we had big old huge bonfire, and we were making s'mores and just having a ball. And a song came on that I really liked, Benny and the Jets, okay? And so one of the girls asked me, Nathan, let's dance. And so, because everybody was out there dancing, seemed like. And so we got up and we were trying to dance to Benny and the Jets, okay? Um, and I never will forget, the worst feeling came over me. I looked around and people had stopped dancing and started looking at me and her. Well, I'm not the type of person I want to be center of anybody's damn attention, right? So I look at her, she look at me, and we both sharing the same sentiment. So we stopped dancing and start walking, slowly walking off the dance floor. And I walked past this little group of white boys standing there. And they looked. Oh, Nathan, come on, get back out there. We know you can dance of all people. You guys, that hit me in my heart like a dagger. Okay. For the first time in 2 weeks, I realized I was black again. Okay. Because I wasn't feeling it. Okay. I was feeling like I was one of the kids. And I was so hurt that I was probably more mad at myself for allowing myself to get caught up in that attack, racial attack, so to speak. And so I started walking, right? And I walked to the woods line where I was just alone. It was dark, far away from that campfire and the scenery of everybody standing around cackling and laughing at Nathan because he was supposed to get out there and put on a show for all the white folks because he's black. He's supposed to know how to dance, right? And I was standing at the woods line and I wasn't snot crying, but tears was just running down my face. And I felt a big old hand slap me on my shoulder, and it was Bear. He's standing right next to me. He said, "Damn it, Nathan, I am so proud of you." And I looked at him, tears just coming out my eyes. And I looked at him, and tears was coming out of his too. He said, "You're a better man than me." He said, "All my life I was bigger than all the other kids and everybody because I was so big I was supposed to be tough and mean." And so he said, "I started playing tough and mean." He said, "I did bad things, beat up people just for nothing, just because I could." He said, "I joined the toughest motorcycle group." He said, "We went around the country just raising hell and I was always counted on to get the shit started." He said, "I'd just be fighting and just brawling." And he said, "But you didn't. You didn't dance. You stopped." He said, "I wish I had not danced." He said, "I've been a dancer all my life." He said, "And you," he said, "I love you, man." Gave me an old hug, wrapped me up. Boy, you guys, I can get lost in that guy. He's so huge, right? And he told me, he said, "Nathan," he said, "throughout your life, you're going to be asked to dance." He said, "They're going to come at you every which way." He said, "Whenever you are going to be around people who don't look like you, they're going to want you to be that stereotype that they have come to know through the media." He said, "Don't fight. You don't have to dance for nobody." He said, "Be you. Be yourself." He said, "Don't dance." And he said, "Don't feel bad for not dancing." And I sucked it up, stopped the weeping that I was doing. And I start feeling good about myself because, yeah, he's right. I didn't dance. I wasn't going to act a fool and monkey shine, do the stepping and fetch it for nobody. And he told me, he said, "Remember, this isn't the first time and it won't be the last." You guys, a few years later, high school, graduation. Oh, the graduation parties was hot. I was invited to all of them. I remember going to a graduation party, and the girl's father was a doctor in town. They were well known, but they weren't the home. So this party was all the way live. It was in a predominantly white neighborhood, and everybody was there, and they were drinking and getting high. Well, man, I didn't do drugs. I was an athlete, but I drank, but I didn't drink around crowds like that. I wasn't comfortable like that. So I wasn't drinking or anything. I was there with one of my friends. Me and him had went to that party, and we were going to party hop, that kind of thing. Well, the hostess of the party uh, told one of the girls that she had a crush on me and she wanted to get with me. Do the hoo cha cha. I'm like, oh hell yeah, you guys. So she said, "She's in the room in there. Go talk to her." So I go in the room, and it was on. It was live. She was letting me know, okay, all these years I've been had a crush on you, old boy, and I want some of that. Well, y'all, the girl's a white girl. I had never jumped that side of the fence, but I was willing to. Come on now, I'm young and dumb and full of cum. Shit, yeah, I'm gonna go in there. And so I'm like all ready to get down and get busy, okay? And this girl turned around and started rolling up a joint. Okay. And a fat joint too, one of them Bob Marley's, hot damn. And she said, "Here, come on, smoke this with me." So I said, "No, I don't do the weed." And I said, "That stuff tastes nasty and it stinks." "Oh, come on, Nathan. I mean, seriously, you don't get high?" No, I don't get high. A black dude that don't get high? Are you fucking kidding me? And she said it like that. And then she said, "Well, I can't get busy unless I'm getting high." I said, "Hold on a minute." You guys, because I'm gonna tell you something, okay? I ain't dancing on this tune. All right. So I step out for a minute and I see this brother named John. We call him John. I say, "Hey John, Mary inside there, she's saying she can't get busy unless she get high." I said, "You want to go in there and rock that boat?" And I said, "I'm out." "Shoot, man, what you talking about, man? Who?" And I told him again who she was. Oh, she one of the finest girls in school, right? That joker go off in that room. I went in with him and, said, "Here, John want to get high." Ooh, wee, she was excited, right? I left. Okay. You guys, I guess everything happened that he wanted to happen. But sadly enough, years later, I come to town after I done been in the military, worked for the government, all this and that, got children, living a life. And I come back into town and decided to go out and hit Main Street. Okay. And so I go down Blue Note down there near my home, downtown. And who could I see but John? He was standing up against the wall, taking a piss, pissing up against the wall in an alley. "John, is that you?" He looked, "Nate." And so he come up running up to me and he looked at me. Now he's staggering. He's high as a kite, y'all. This boy, the Scuttlebutt told me that after our encounter how bad he was on drugs. I mean, this dude he was so on drugs that his own family didn't want him around because he steal things to go sell for drugs. And he come out and he looks at me. Now he high as a kite, y'all. Ain't seen me in umpteen years. And he looked at me, "Man, shoot. You remember?" I say, I remember what?" And I'm grinning and smiling at him. "Oh man, you remember that old graduation party, man? We hung out, boy. We had a good time, didn't we?" And he looked at me. Even though his face was grinning, his eyes, you guys, I'm getting emotional now telling this damn story. His eyes looked into mine. I knew that he was saying to me, "This, what you see here, is as a result of that. What we did then, what I did, and what I introduced him to because he had never got high before. He had never did drugs. But I took him in there and he decided to dance for that girl. He decided to be the Negro when in all actuality, getting high was not our thing for black boys back then. We did not do that at the rate that they do it. We don't even drink today. You go to a black bar, a black man's holding a drink that he had poured the moment he came in, and he'll try to hold that drink till he leave. Group of black men will sit down and they may have a cocktail drink in front of them. But you go to a white bar and there is 20 damn empty bottles sitting on that table. They done went through and they ordering more. Buckets of bars. I mean bottles. Buckets and buckets. They just drink like fish. Latinos, Asians, all of them drink like fish. But black men, you won't see them do that. Black men don't drink. They don't do drugs. I know the press is on for them. because you look at all the music videos trying to encourage them to, but that's not their thing. And that brother looked at me, and I felt responsible. Of all the interactions he and I had from kindergarten, we've known each other from kindergarten all the way up, that he could have reminded me of, times that he could have reminded me of, good times, bad times. But it was that moment. Now he high as a damn kite, and he seen me, and he was letting me know where it all started. He's no longer with us now, sadly, but I always feel guilty about that because he was a dancer. He danced. And I would tell my children, I wrote the story and I would tell my children about dancing and why I don't dance. And what I'm meaning is, yes, I'll dance at music. That's not what I mean. I won't dance for anyone as far as putting on a show or stooping to a level that is not comfortable with me. Um, and so, what my aunt pointed out to me was the fact that, unlike the Funkadelics, because they told a story, they talked about society, they talked about our interactions with each other. They went real deep. And Bootsy Collins sang about Sir Nose devoid of funk. And a lot of people did not understand that. He said, I will never dance. I will never dance. That's all he would talk about. And I was like, hey, I'm Sir Nose devoid of funk. I won't dance either. And people did not understand that that's what Sir Nose was talking about. He won't dance. He won't be your stepping and fetching. And then years later, the fall of our famous comedian Richard Pryor, when he nearly died, he made a movie about it. And guess what it was called? JoJo Dancer. He danced all his life. He put on a show. He was a drug addict. I mean, he was doing stuff with cocaine, call it freebasing or whatever, all that kind of stuff. Things that we didn't know nothing about in the hood. Nobody knew about that. This dude was so out there. He was doing things, holding these orgies and sex parties and all this kind of stuff, just destroying himself because he was expected to. And so he danced. And so I guess what I'm trying to show you is that you don't have to dance. I'm not a dancer. And those of you who have danced don't dance anymore. You know, um, I was never so happy when it happened to my middle son. Okay, here he is, a standout athlete, honor student, tutor to young kids. I mean, his name was just beautiful in our hometown, beautiful. And on weekends, I'd come to watch his ball games. So wherever I was at, I would drive all the way up, okay, to watch his ball game. Good kid. And after the games, I wouldn't see him because, of course, he's with his friends and they do their friend thing and after game parties or whatever. And but I'd see him the next day because there I am at mom's house. And this one particular Saturday, I show up. I went early. I'm wanting to take everybody to breakfast. And she looked at me. She said, you need to talk to Matthew. I said, well, why? Is something wrong? She said, no, but you need to talk to him. I hated when she did that because she ain't giving me no information. I got to go and pick bones with him because boys ain't going to share the way that they share with their mom, with their dad. Okay. And I'm thinking it might be something sexual or whatever. So I'm nervous. Right. So he come downstairs and I said, Your mom said, man, you talk. What happened? And he looked at me, oh, nothing, Dad. I said, no, tell me what happened. He said, there was this party. He said, we went to, and the party, he named the town, which was Ontario, at this black girl's house. She's the only black kid in that town, go to that school. And they have a real nice home. So it's a nice section, off section of my hometown there. And so they're at this girl's house, him and his buddies. Now, him and his buddies, they're all honor students, all of them, very smart, intelligent young men. And to this day, they all call me Mr. Robinson, okay? I never, went down no levels with them, okay? It was always going to be, me in a professional way with these young men because I didn't, I wasn't the type of person to break my character around young people, okay? I wanted to give them somebody to have confidence in, and that's what I did. Well, these are some sharp young men, very intelligent. And they're at the party, and it was so strange. My son said that the girl, they wanted to be away from all the noise. Downstairs was clowning. They was partying. You know how white kids are, very ruckus and rambunctious. And so they're upstairs with the girl, the hostess, and her couple of her friends, and they're chatting them up because they go to different schools. They're trying to get to know each other. And so the black girl looked at him and said, do you guys know any rap? Can you rap? Well, my son said he looked at her and he looked at his buddies. Well, no, we don't rap. We don't know how to rap. And it felt a certain way at that type of question, especially from a black girl. And to give you a little secret about my son, at night, if you creep into his room at night to check on him, he'd have the radio playing real low and it'd be on classical channel. That's what he slept by, classical music. He's not a musician or anything kind of like me, but that's what soothed him to go to sleep. So no, he's not into rap like that. I'm sure when they out partying with their buddies, they got the rap playing and this and that or other genres. But to try and get him to rap for her and her friends was a slap in the face. In essence, they were supposed to break out and start rapping and, getting the beat and going, doing all that crazy shit. And that's not them. And that's not hardly any black boys. And like my brother woke me to the notion, and I did not know this, that 95% of black kids do not know anybody in a gang. They don't know. They don't know gangsters, people who claim to be in a gang. 95% of black kids do not know. So the media has you distorted. And so that kind of bothered him. That was, pretty much it. Then he said shortly thereafter, a fight broke out. Well, that's going to happen. The fight broke out. They go downstairs with the girl, the hostess. And these kids then tow up her parents' home. Now, you got to figure $300,000-$400,000 home is trashed. Okay. And things were missing. Computers, laptops, stuff like that. Them kids had trashed the house and they even took some things they wanted. Well, strangely enough, that girl turned around. Now, my son and his buddies had been with her the whole time. She turned around and called them and asked them, did they steal her laptop, her computer? The only black boys that was there. They felt some kind of way. This tickled my heart. Now, after he told me this, and he told me some other things that had happened there at that party that really made him feel uncomfortable by the girl. Okay. And after he had left the room or whatever, I looked at his mama. I said, I am so glad that happened to him. And she looked at me with a scowl on her face, but understood because it happened to me. And she said, yeah. She said, sometime we gotta be happy that they learn kind of on their own, don't we? I said, yep. I said, I bet you he know now. And he's not a dancer. He ain't running around here playing the fool. So you guys understand that you don't have to dance. Um, Sir Nose didn't dance, and Nathan does not dance. And I'll help you through any situation you think you're going to encounter. You don't have to dance. Okay. Hey, I love you. I'm Nathan Robinson, and I'm back quiet.